distance can be a major barrier to accessing quality healthcare on time. That's where Angel Flight East comes in. Welcome to Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East, a nonprofit dedicated to providing free flights for children and adults who need medical treatment far from home. We don't know how many people forego medical care because they don't have accessible transportation, and that's what this podcast is here to change. Join passionate AFE staff members Jess, Ames, and Maddy, Beck as they share real-life stories from people who have used AFE services to get the care they need when they need it.
Hey, frequent flyers, welcome back with another episode of Takeoff Talk. You're here with me, Maddy.
And me, Jess.
And volunteer pilot Earl. Hey, Earl.
We are live this podcast because Earl just showed up and we're like, we know what we can give you to do in these 2 hours that you're waiting for a patient.
Schedule got changed, which is fun.
We appreciate you going with the flow with us.
It's always interesting here, especially on a Wednesday.
It is. So, Earl, can you tell us a little bit about your journey as, one, a pilot and two, a pilot with Angel Flight?
I learned to fly in the early 80s. Bought a tri-pacer, then a 172, then a 182. I was in the Navy, and one year we ended up flying that 182 5 hours that entire year. That was a very expensive 5 hours, as you can imagine. We sold the plane, then career, kids, college, everything got in the way. I was a couple years from retirement, and I looked at the wife and said, I want to buy another airplane. She looked at me and shook her head, but I bought another airplane, a little Cherokee 182. One of the first ones off the line, serial number 1250. Beautiful condition, put a lot of work into it, nice avionics, and just enjoy flying, just taking people up and letting them see what it's like up in the air and seeing the ants on the ground, if you will.
That's us. We're the ants.
So, Earl, why do you volunteer your time and flying with Angel Flight?
I think it is something that is amazing. I was talking to one woman on a flight, and she told me that she has probably saved $200,000 in airline tickets because of Angel Flight pilots volunteering. I learned about Angel Flight because I was looking for something to do with the plane other than just going to breakfast or lunch or, that $100 hamburger. And I had been flying blood in Texas where we had lived at the time, and we moved to Pennsylvania and there was nothing around. And I saw an Angel Flight flyer and said, this is for me.
I don't know.
So I've been doing it now 3 or 4 years. I think this year so far, I'm up in the 60-hour range for Angel Flights. I try to do at least 2 to 3 a month, depending on the schedule and everything. And I think it's awesome. You just meet people that you fall in love with. There was one flight where a little girl, she was about, I think, 5, and she had had brain surgery. And the flight was a long flight. So it just so happened I could stop at my home airport, let her get out, let her run around, and everybody at the home airport just fell in love with this little girl. It's amazing the people you meet, the things you can do. Another flight, actually last week, I was flying a couple and we were in the clouds. It was one of those showery days. I opened the side window on the plane and let them stick their hands out and fill a cloud. And they just loved it. And we were cloud surfing. Turns out he was a surfer when he lived in California. And we just had a great time flying them back from the appointment that they were in. So I think this is a worthwhile charity. it gives me an excuse to fly. It helps people. It lets me do something that I wouldn't do on my own, which is let strangers in that plane. Even when the
All
little
the years of
boy
parents
gets in
telling
the
us
plane,
not to go with strangers, and here we are.
Yeah.
even when the little boys get sick in the plane, you just look at it, you shake your head, and you clean it up.
That's a good attitude.
That's amazing.
So,
Actually asked one time like why pilots do it and how they build such great bonds, and it is like you're in the plane with them for hours at a time, so you have to find something to talk about.
That's right.
And we just love the relationships that form with patients and pilots. That's always our favorite thing to talk about.
I think it's amazing. I do have some favorite passengers because we just really hit it off, and they're very comfortable in the plane. Turbulence doesn't bother them, clouds doesn't bother them, and we just have a great time in the
You
plane.
just hang out.
Hang out.
If you ever have an empty seat, Maddy and I love to hang out too.
Okay.
yeah, we do. Far, far away from our desks.
Well, I don't have an empty seat today, but
That's
I'll
true.
look for a long flight
Yeah,
and
let
give you
us
guys a
know.
ride.
We're flexible.
Yeah, we will be.
Pilot.
Yeah.
But
What's your real job when you're not flying?
Hmm?
What's your real job when you're not flying?
Oh, I retired back in 2019. I was a nuclear engineer for the Navy for 20 years, then worked for the Department of Energy as a nuclear engineer, overseeing the safety aspects of the nuclear bombs and warheads and stuff like that. So it was a great career. I loved it. Retired in 2019 and plan to fly till I can't pass a medical anymore.
A nuclear engineer, I can't even imagine what that's like because we have like two brain cells together. So
yeah.
incredible that you did that for so long.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Engineering was not my specialty in college.
Math and science in general wasn't my specialty at any point in life.
Yeah. Learning the technical aspects of the plane is one of the easiest things I ever did.
Wow. I feel slighted.
I had a great
Beck, you
career.
can land,
I
Jess.
loved it, and very lucky with all that time. I call us, we really are four dippers. I got my Navy retirement. I got my Department of Energy retirement. We both have Social Security, except for me spending money on the plane and her spending money on clothes. We hardly spend anything. And we're still, even with being retired, we're just doing very well. And this gives me, being able to be very well, gives me a chance to help others that don't have the things that I have. It's amazing.
I love it.
I love it.
Do you fly with any other organizations or just Angel Flight?
Just Angel Flight.
Okay, good. Because we would say you're cheating on us.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, we have jealousy issues,
Angel
okay?
We don't do well with others flying for other organizations.
No, I've interacted with some of the organizations on some of my flights, but I only fly with Angel Flight.
We keep you busy enough.
Yeah. And one thing I do because of flying with Angel Flights, even though I'm very current, I do an instrument proficiency check every 6 months. I do a flight review every 12 months, even though that's way more than required. Because I'm flying passengers and I want to make sure I'm up to speed all the time.
Yeah. Well,
That's
if you
awesome.
choose to fly for somebody else, we'll fully support you. But no.
Yeah, we'll be sad.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it's amazing.
Do you have a favorite place to fly to?
My favorite place to fly to, not really. I like going to different airports. I like figuring them out. What I have figured out is I get close to Philadelphia here, the Class Bravo. I get close to New York City at Caldwell with the Class Bravo. And I end up sitting 15 to 20 minutes after I had my clearance trying to get a release out of those airports because of the traffic. And I just look at the engine start heating up. But other than that, I really don't have a favorite airport. I like them all. They're all different.
There you go.
People are all different. Everybody with Angel Flight, except for one place, have given me great discounts on gas and fees and everything. So that is hard to imagine in today's financial environment. And they really support.
I remember a couple weeks ago, I called you to fly into JFK and you politely said, heck no.
Right.
And I was like, this is why I'm not allowed to be the flight coordinator, because I try to fly people into very big airports.
No,
that we're not supposed to be near.
The big airplanes stall faster than I can fly.
Yeah, that was a big ask from my end.
No, David knows.
Yeah. So what made you want to become a pilot?
I was bored. I was stationed in Idaho Falls at the nuclear power training unit there. And we had a really strange shift. We would work a shift and then we'd have one day off. And then we'd work, say, a swing shift and we'd have 2 days off. Then we'd work a mid shift and we'd have 4 days off. Well, you could only go camping and hiking and so much, even as a young person, even in those beautiful mountains. So I was bored. And I went and did an intro flight and just absolutely loved it.
Then you got hooked.
I got hooked.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Got
That's
hooked.
Yeah.
amazing.
I feel like Jess and I are not that adventurous when we get bored.
Never wanted to be an airline pilot. I don't have a commercial license, but I did commercial training just to improve my flying. But love it.
Wow.
It's gorgeous up there.
That's true. I feel like it's probably a stress reliever too, because it's so quiet up there. So just you and the clouds.
It's like I showed you that rainbow picture of 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
I've got pictures on here of sunsets at 6,000 feet where you can just watch the progression, and it's gorgeous.
Way better than seeing it on the ground, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
If you could say one thing about being a volunteer pilot, what do you think it would be?
Fulfilling.
That's
Absolutely fulfilling. It gives me something to help people instead of just flying twice a week for breakfast, flying in a pattern and doing touch and goes. I have been places that I would never go on my own. And like that little girl I was talking about, just knowing.
Little girl with brown ringlets. I forget what her name is.
Me too.
Yeah, I remember the picture though, because she was wearing a mask.
Yeah,
she was so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have to think about this one now.
Yeah, I mean, just she was awesome and a great passenger and fun to be with and everything. And her mom was so appreciative. It's like many of the pilots, just the mission I'm doing today, the parents are so appreciative of what you're able to do to help them out. And I tell you, that plane would get awful expensive if all I was doing was going to breakfast a couple times a week. Like I say, I've probably flown 50, 60 hours for Angel Flight this year so far. I try to fly 2 to 3 missions a month when the schedule works out.
There you go. We know where to find you now.
Jess definitely knows.
I know.
She's been there.
I know where the airport is. I've driven there.
She supports us on our open house. And I've actually recruited a pilot for her.
And you were on a radio interview there last year.
Yeah. So
you do more than just fly for us. You're part of our outreach team.
It works.
Yeah. Not so retired after all there, huh, Earl?
And I always say the patients have such a positive outlook on life. Like they're going through such a hard time, but they have such an interesting perspective. So our bad days are in no way comparison to what they're going through.
Oh, no. You know, you can't imagine. It's like today. I was supposed to pick this mother up and her two boys at 10 o'clock today. Well, last minute schedule change. They want to do some more tests. And so I have actually learned over the years that schedule changes happen. I keep a book in my plane just exactly for cases like this. And I will let my wife know that my schedule has changed and when I'm actually going to be home, so she won't worry when I'm late.
That's true. And you got to hang out with us for 2 hours and do a podcast live. So it just kind of worked out even better.
I've been thinking about getting hold of you guys and
I
like
know.
this.
This is even better. We've never done a live, so this might be our best one yet.
Oh, great.
Don't tell anybody else we said that.
Okay, I won't.
It's okay. They can keep that part in. We won't edit it out even.
But if I could say one thing, I would suggest that any pilot out there, even if you're a renter, to volunteer for Angel Flight. It is an amazing thing, and these people do an amazing job coordinating and scheduling and working with you to be able to support people that need our help. I can't say enough about it.
You're hired.
Guess we got to keep you.
I know what that pay scale is, though.
I don't either. It might be a sandwich a month, but
around here sometimes we're working on that. But we appreciate everything you do for Angel Flight. We couldn't do it without you.
I love it.
But
thanks, Earl.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning into another episode of Takeoff Talk. We'll see you guys again next week.
Not live, though. This is a special occasion for Ellen's birthday. Bye.
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 That's it for today's episode of Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East. If you want to learn more about our services, please visit our website at www.angelflighteast.org or call our office at 215-358-1900. Join us in our mission. If you're a healthcare worker or a patient in need of air travel and flight services, AFE is here for you. Subscribe to the show so you can hear more stories. Join us again next week right here on Takeoff Talk.